last intercession, we'll go ahead and open up. Brothers, please uncover your heads. Sisters, please cover your heads. You're going to go ahead and open up. And when you get it, my brother, go ahead.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done
thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread.
and forgive us our debts
Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom
and the power,
And the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord,
For he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endureth forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
For he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endureth forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of
The
Israel,
Holy One of Israel,
the King of
the
kings,
King of kings,
and Lord of
the
lords,
Lord of lords,
the one true God,
the one true God,
and there is no other.
and there is no other.
Amen.
Amen.
Then came to Jesus scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, Why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. But he answered and said unto them, Why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? For God commanded, saying, Honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, Whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, It is a gift by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. This have ye made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition. Ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, This people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandment of men. I just read to you Matthew chapter 15, verses 1 through 9. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I want to say happy Sabbath, and we got something else going on. We have the Passover, you know, and the way the Lord works is beautiful, because now, you know, sometimes it'll run in with the Sabbath, Passover or unleavened bread, you know. So we have a double portion. Last night at sundown, we did the Passover. You know, the ceremony with the bread and the wine. And that was a beautiful thing amongst the sisters and the brothers. And right after that, we got what? We have unleavened bread, which we can't wait to get into, which is considered to be a Sabbath. Goes to have a holy convocation, and we're going to feast for 7 days. But I'm gonna hand this off. I'm just read, iterate what we did last night, and remind people, even though today is the Sabbath, it's the Passover as well. So we have to acknowledge the Passover. So I'm gonna give it off to Brother Justin. Let him do what he do. Like that guy would say, you understand?
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Sorry for my tardiness. My speed racer on down here, so I'm here. Alright, so again, peace, everybody. We're going to get started because I only got 1 hour. So today's class is simply a question, and it's called, Does all worship please God? Again, does all worship please God? And this is a question that we really have to ask ourselves, because you ask a lot of people today, and they'll tell you, it's all about your intentions. You don't really need the Bible, you don't need this, you don't need that. And as long as I intend to do good, God knows my heart, I'm good to go. But in the confines of the Bible, that's clearly not the case. So we're going to start this in Isaiah 55 and verse 8. Isaiah 55 and verse 8. I want us to get an understanding of how we think and God's method of thinking. They're not the same. So Isaiah 55 and verse 8. When you got it, go ahead and read it.
For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord.
So the Lord is saying here, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. The way God perceives things is much more different than man does. You know what I'm saying? With that, like, the way the Lord set things in place, we can't establish our own standard of salvation. It's just not going to work. Why? Our thoughts are here. God's thoughts are way up here. Keep reading.
For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
Go ahead.
For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and make it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater.
Go ahead.
So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
The Lord saying here, like, the word he puts out is not going to come back void. So in other words, it's not like a check. It's not going to bounce. Whatever God said happen is going to happen. If it says it's going to come to pass, it's going to come to pass. Let's go to Isaiah 46 and get some more on this. Like I'm saying here, you can't, man in its entirety cannot establish a method of worship that supersedes God's. It's just not possible. So Isaiah 46, and start at verse 5 for me. You go ahead.
To whom will ye liken me, and make me equal, and compare me, that they may be like, that we may be like?
Who are we going to do that to? You can't Buddha, God, Christmas, Easter. It's not going to happen. There's no comparison with God. Skip down to verse 7 for me.
They bear him upon the shoulder, they carry him, and set him in place, and he standeth. From his place shall he not remove. Yea, one shall cry unto him, yet he cannot answer, nor save him out of his trouble.
So that Christmas tree that you carry in your house on December 25th, as you go to Walmart, Maxwell if you cheap, take it home, deck it out, tell your kids don't even touch it, you're worshiping that tree, knowing or not. The same thing, you got a Buddha statue in your crib, it's like it's not doing nothing for you. When stuff hits the fan, you ask these things for help, they're just looking at you. Read that again for me, please, verse 8.
Remember this, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old. For I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there was none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done.
And I go here to, again, verify that our thoughts are not like God's. God declared the end from the beginning, all right? And things that in this book he told way before they happened. Like you peep your history books, you learn about what Alexander the Great, the Gentile successions, Jerusalem being destroyed in 70 AD. God called that before it happened. And then you compare it to man, I say to myself, I can't even recall what I did most of last week. You know what I'm saying? Let alone calling things from the beginning. Let's go to John chapter 4 now. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all of my pleasure.
Let's go to John chapter 4 now. Because you start telling a lot of people that you can potentially be worshiping falsely. And they don't want to hear it. And especially in today's society, this mainstream Christianity, I'll say, you know, it's highly based off intentions. What you feel is right, what you think is right, it's not right. So John chapter 4 and verse 20, because Jesus here is talking to the Samaritan woman at the well, and he asked her for something to drink. She's like, I ain't got no bucket, I can't get it for you. And Jesus hits her with, if you know who he was talking to, I would have gave you that spiritual water that brings to everlasting life. So verse 20, In John chapter 4, you got it? Go ahead.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is a place where men ought to worship.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
Go ahead.
Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
So Jesus saying here in verse 22, ye worship you know not what, which is very common today. Matter of fact, when you get a chance, go out and ask somebody, what are Easter eggs about? What's the bunny about? What does Buddha stand for? What does that cross mean? Can't tell you. In the book, no facts, probably at all whatsoever. Then it becomes very opinionated. Well, I think it means this is what I wear it for. That's not what I asked. I'm saying, like, so ye worship you know not what. Keep reading.
But salvation is of the Jews.
So salvation is of the Jews. So you want to know what to do to come save yourself? Find you an Israelite who's teaching the truth out of the Bible and learn what you need. Keep going.
But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth.
So I'm saying here, but the hour cometh and now is when the true worshiper shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. So some interaction here. If Jesus is saying here, the true worshipers, that means what? There's false worshipers, correct? Also, it's a requirement. He's saying here, when the true worshiper shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Keep going.
But the Father seeketh such to worship him.
So that's what the Father wants. There wasn't a suggestion. There wasn't you can if you like. But the Father seeks such to worship him in spirit and in truth. Keep going.
God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
So now it goes from a requirement to a demand. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in what? Spirit and truth, right? What is truth? Truth is anything you can open this Bible and prove to anybody, right? You ain't got to. Appreciate it. It doesn't strictly rely on www.com or some encyclopedia or whatnot. Also, the Lord can't be honored with a lie. For example, if I took Brother Stevenson's birth certificate, put whiteout on it, wrote my name on it, is it mine? It's not. It's still his, right? Same thing with Christ. You can't put his name on something and deem it's his. Me and the brothers can't go to the club in Jesus' name and make it okay. That's not how it works. All right. So again, let's go to Ephesians 4 now. So we're in Ephesians 4, and I come here because, like, again, you talking to a lot of people, they have this misconception of there are multiple paths, multiple roads you can take, and they all lead to God. And we're going to read two scriptures in two different places that tell you that's not the case. God is very meticulous in what he wants. One way that we all must come through. So Ephesians 4 and verse 4.
There is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling.
Mm-hmm.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism.
Read that again for me.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism.
So one Lord, one faith, one baptism. So this same Jesus that I worship, Stevens worship, everybody in this room worship, that's what the world is supposed to be doing. At this particular time, right now, today, the entire world is supposed to be keeping what? The Passover. Going to the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Easter shouldn't be an issue. Christmas shouldn't be an issue. But things have been lost over the years. So one faith. So it shouldn't be no Lutheran, Methodist, Baptist. All these different things to get into. Dealing with Hinduism, Buddhism. Like, it's all false. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. Meaning, if I'm in a Lutheran church, I can't get dipped in the water, don't like it. Go to a Baptist church, get dipped in the water, don't like it. Go to a Methodist church, get dipped in the water, don't like it. Like, it's not all these multiple baptisms. One. And then from there, you live your life. You going?
One God and Father of all, who is above all, and through all, and in you all.
So one God, one Father of all. Meaning, there is no such thing as, I got the Jewish Sabbath and the Christian Sabbath. Jewish holidays, Christian holidays. When you read Leviticus 23, it says, these are my feasts. The Lord says that these are my feasts. The things that I ordained. It wasn't no Jewish, it wasn't Moses. Meaning, this is all we have to do. When you get some understanding, you should want to, because they lay out a particular plan that God has for this man. Let's go to Jude chapter. Jude 1. Again, we're just backing up this whole one faith, one Lord, one baptism. Jude chapter 1, you got it.
Jude, the servant of Jesus Christ and brother of James, to them that are sanctified by God the Father, and preserved in Jesus Christ, and called, mercy unto you, and peace and love be multiplied. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you, and exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints.
So Jude is saying here, look, the common salvation. Again, the same methods that we all have to do as believers, the world should be doing. Read that verse again for me, please.
Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness, and denying the only Lord God and our Lord Jesus Christ.
So I'm going to verse 3 when it says, Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that you earnestly contend for the faith. When you hear the word contend, what do you think of? Nothing easy, right? You got to fight. Most people don't know that they're in a fight. This is a spiritual warfare. The battle is here, and people are losing. For one, once you think you can't be deceived, you are. Until you accept the truth and begin to fight that fight. Even with me, man, as I was putting this together, I was like, man, a fight's going on, especially for my eternal salvation. I need to know. Even on a more physical level, if someone wants to fight me, I want to know. What am I doing? What am I up against? Because this guy's a black belt. I got YMCA karate. Like, I'm in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading. I'm sorry, so verse 4. But there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness. And you see that on a regular basis. Now we have this grace of God. Now, just go out and live your life. Get your sin on. Do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, your spot in heaven is guaranteed. And when you think about it, it sounds crazy, right? So you're telling me God came and died because of sin anyway. Being worse than any man. Hung on the cross and died. So he did all that. Just to give me a free pass. It's counterproductive. Also, he made a big deal of the law for a reason. He killed a man on the Sabbath day. That wouldn't be fair to that dude. Right. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be fair to Solomon that he ripped the kingdom from him. And God's very practical. That's not the case. We done on that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Proverbs 16. And my goal for the class is for us to actually answer this question. Does all worship please God? And of course, we're going to go into some examples. Proverbs 16 and 1 verse, verse 25. When you got it, go ahead and read.
There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
And when you think about that, it says there's a way that seems right unto a man. Like these holidays seem right. Especially when you don't know any better. You're not going to do your research. You know, grandma did it. Great grandma did it. Mom did it. Dad did it. Aunts and uncles do it. We make a big party of it every year. So it seems right to a man. But lo and behold, that's idolatry you're partaking in. Now you're breaking the law. Even though it's unwillingly, unknowingly, it's still the same. And that's why God makes a case for you to seek the Lord, seek the book and read. Because everything you need is in this book. It's a problem when you go into church and the Bible has not been opened at all. It's a problem when it's not even a requirement to bring your Bible with you. That should be 2 red flags right there. There's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are ways of death. And you let man up to his own vices, he's going to tear himself apart. Think about it. All the bad stuff we eat, the stuff we find to get into. Think of how detailed the Lord was with everything. Don't worship this. He covered all aspects. The sea, the sky, the ground, man. He even had to tell man, don't be out there messing with sheep. Like, he had to go that far. This man would tear himself apart. Let's get into some examples because I also want to make sure that we understand there's no such thing as a personal relationship with God. God is not your homeboy like that. He ain't mine either. So Exodus 24. Exodus 24. And again, we're about to address the whole personal relationship thing because in my time, you know, I developed what I like to call Christian cliches, right? And it's like no matter where you go, these things sound the same. Y'all want some of them? Blessed and highly favored. That old law. I got a personal relationship with God. Can you prove any of these things? You can't. Especially a personal relationship when God tells you in multiple places. He's not a respecter of persons. So what's so personal about that? But Exodus 24. We're going to go over something that if you're going to call anything personal relationship with God, this is probably it. So Exodus 24 and verse 1. When you got it, go ahead.
And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel.
So the Lord is saying here, and he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord, thou Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 elders of Israel, and worship afar off. He named 4 of them by name. All right? Moses, Aaron, and his 2 sons, Nadab and Abihu, to come, and 70 elders to come up and worship the Lord afar off. Skip down to verse 9.
Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel.
Go ahead.
And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness.
So these 4, again, remember these names. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw God. The same way I'm looking at y'all right now, they're looking at God. Saw him, ate with him, which you're going to read. If you want to call anything a personal relationship, this is it. Keep going.
And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw God, and did eat and drink.
They're saying like, upon the nobles of the children of Israel, he laid not his hands, meaning all he had to do was this. They were that close to God, right? I ain't been that close to God, y'all. So nobody's got this personal relationship that's so heavily talked about. But being that they ate with God, they were close to God, they should be cool with God, right? So whatever they do gets a pass, correct? We're going to see. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 10 now. So Leviticus chapter 10. And remember the names we went over, all right? Leviticus 10 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not.
So we have Aaron's two sons, Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron. They took either of him his censer, and put the fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And they're supposed to be priests, and they ate with God. So they're supposed to know better. And they offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. So the Lord didn't give this order for them to do. All right? Keep going.
And there went out fire from the Lord, and devoured them, and they died before the Lord.
Go ahead.
Then Moses said to Aaron, This is it that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace.
So now imagine that, like you serving the Lord, you doing what he asked you to do as a father. Your sons go left field, offer up something that God didn't tell them to offer, kills them both. You ate with God and he killed you, right? Also from that, if God didn't command it, he ain't rocking with it. Again, if God ain't command, he don't command it, he ain't rocking with it. So who are we to establish our own method of salvation if we cannot do it? Man can't even create laws that are equal, so let alone a method of salvation. And then on top of that, now Moses and Aaron were up there too, and God basically told Aaron, hold your peace and chill. In other words, I dare you to get mad. All right? And nothing Aaron can do about it. So with that being said, like there's no personal relationship, that common salvation that we all must follow. That's why God says work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Right.
Not peace and tranquility, not with swag and whatever, like fear and trembling. Be scared. After reading all this, I was scared. Like, man, am I half stepping? Like, make sure I'm good. Let's go to Exodus 25 now. Let's get another example. Because what led to Nadab and Abihu's demise, they did it their way, the way they wanted to do. Like I said, God's not rocking with that. So Exodus 25 and verse 8. And what's going on here, the Lord is giving directions on how he wants the Ark of the Covenant built. And pay attention to how very detailed and strict and meticulous he is. He knows what he wants, how he wants it, when he wants it. Exodus 25 and verse 8.
And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof.
So the Ark of the Covenant is to be, I don't know the exact measurements, but 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. So you have the exact measurements you need to make this Ark of the Covenant, which is important to the tribe of Levi and ultimately all of Israel. All right, and it kind of makes you think of Noah. He gave Noah what? The exact blueprint on how to build that ark, correct? And Noah did it. No, he ain't add rims, like none of that. He did exactly what was asked. Keep going.
And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold. Within and without shalt thou overlay it, and shalt make upon it a crown of gold round about.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof. And 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and 2 rings in the other side of it.
So now the Ark of the Covenant is going to have 4 rings. So imagine we have this right here, right? 2 rings are going to go here, 2 rings on the bottom. That's how it's going to be formed. Keep going.
And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with.
Now, we got the rings, and now we have staves, or basically long sticks, which you're going to put in the rings, and you're going to carry this Ark of the Covenant, all right? And Levi is supposed to be the only tribe doing this, given from God. So now we have the Ark of the Covenant. how it's supposed to be made, how it's supposed to be carried by the staves. Keep that in mind as we go to the next place. Let's go to 2 Samuel 6 now. And the Bible is, man, it's amazing because not only is it giving you guidelines, it leaves you too many examples for you not to get the big picture. And it also gives standpoints, so it says God does not change. Same yesterday, today, and forever. So the same things that angered him back then, same things today. And I think we get lost because to us, 6,000 years have passed. Oh God, he's upgraded, he's cool now. Ain't that much time passed for God. So 2 Samuel 6 and verse 1. When you got it, you go ahead.
Again, David gathered together all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
And David arose and went with all the people that were with him from Baalah of Judah to bring up from thence the ark of God, whose name is called by the name of the Lord of hosts, that dwelleth between the cherubims.
So now David, who's the tribe of Judah, he's going to go get the ark of God now. The ark of the covenant we just read about in Exodus 25. Keep in mind now, from Exodus to 2 Samuel, generations have passed. I'm talking about people have long died and gone. Are we cool with that? Are we getting it? Mm-hmm. All right, keep going.
And they set the ark of God upon a new cart, and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah. Mm-hmm. And Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, drave the new cart.
All right, so real quick. And they set the ark of God upon a new cart. How's the ark supposed to be moved? By what? The staves, right? The staves and the rings. Well, we have directions. You move the ark by the staves if you're a Levite. Keep going.
And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was at Gibeah, accompanying the ark of God, and Ahio went before the ark. Mm-hmm. And David and all the house of Israel played before the Lord on all manner of instruments made of fir wood, even on harps, and on psalteries, and timbrels, and on cornets, and on cymbals.
So now they're moving the ark. Life's good. They party. They're having a good time. They're celebrating. Things should be cool at this point, right? Remember, it's on the cart, not the staves or by the staves. Keep going.
And when they came to Nechan's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it.
So now it's on this cart, it was shaken by an ox. All Uzzah did, he just put his hand on the cart. Like most of us, someone falls in here, he's gonna put a hand, trying to save it, right? Keep going.
And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error. And there he died by the ark of God.
So now, like I said, this is generations have passed between Exodus and 2 Samuel. God didn't change because all Uzzah did was put his hand on the cart. Ain't like he was out there, sinning, he wasn't cursing God, and he put his hand on the cart. With good intentions, correct? Read verse 7 again for me.
And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error. And there he died by the ark of God.
So again, he had good intentions, put his hand on the ark, and God killed him right there on the spot. And when you think about that, it's kind of, what are our intentions? If it's in falsehood. Me celebrating Resurrection Sunday, even though I have good intentions, it's not what God asked me to do. In fact, it's idolatry. So despite my good intentions, it's not really an issue. I remember I was talking to a brother one day. I posted something on Facebook. I was like, Easter and Christmas not about God. He's like, how's that the case when God wasn't even born? I was like, man, look. I gave him the breakdown. I gave him this. I gave him that. I gave him a book. He's like, well, whatever, man. I know the Lord knows my heart. I'm like, yeah. He took him to Jeremiah. Like, God said your heart is wicked. All right, man, whatever. I was like, you ain't mad at me, bro. But it's the truth. So in other words, our intentions are nothing. Keep going.
And David was displeased, because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzzah, and called the name of the place Perez Uzzah to this day. Mm-hmm. And David was afraid of the Lord that day, and said, how shall the ark of the Lord come to me?
So David was so afraid. I'd be afraid too. We partying, having a good time. My man put the hand on the ark, died. I'm like, it's time to go home. We out of here. We wrapping up. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. But what we get from this is here, like when God is serious about keeping these commandments, it's not a joke. And also it said, David, fear the Lord. There's no fear of the Lord today, because if there was, you wouldn't have these school shootings. Like these kids going missing, all these rapes, murders, and stealing, like you wouldn't have that. Even in America, it's a lawless society. And then turn around and say, one country under God. Yeah, the God of this world.
Right.
Keep going.
So David would not remove the ark of the Lord into the city of David, but David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite.
So yeah, man, David left that Obed-Edom's house for a minute. And Obed-Edom was getting blessed. David's kind of like, okay, maybe I should go get the cart now. I forgot what chapter, but David went to the Levites and said, yo, clean yourself up, go get that ark. If you did it the first time, others would have died. All right? So again, I'm trying to get us to understand here that all worship is not good worship. Also that it has to be done the Lord's way, in spirit and in truth. And I'm also showing you here that our intentions don't mean much if they're not in the right direction. Let's get another example. Let's go to 1 Samuel now, 15. All right, so 1 Samuel 15. You're going to read about King Saul. Because at this point, he is just dropping the ball continually. I think the first time he offered up sacrifice that God told him not to do, that was a strike. Here's another one right here. 1 Samuel 15, verse 1.
Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord.
So Samuel came to anoint Saul to be king over all of Israel. And the king's supposed to lead his people in the right direction, right? It means you got to be righteous in yourself. Keep going.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
That's pretty clear, right? You're going to go to the land of Amalek, and when you get there, you're going to smite Amalek, utterly destroy all they have, and spare them not. Slay both man and woman, infant, suckling, ox, sheep, camel, and ass. So whatever is breathing, you kill it. No questions asked. That's fairly clear, fairly simple. Easily can be done. Skip down to verse 6 for me.
And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt.
So far, Saul's doing what he asked to do. So he smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. Keep going.
And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
So now you messed up. What was the commandment, right? Kill everything in the place. Baby, mom, dad, ox, whatever. He kept the king alive. Go ahead.
But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refused, that they destroyed utterly.
So my man Saul, he said he spared Agag, kept the best sheep and of oxen, and the fattens of the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. So he's walking through, like, that's nice looking sheep, let me get that. That's nice on oxen, get that. Is that what he was told? Keep the best stuff or kill everything? Kill everything. Let's get down to verse 14 for me.
And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and lowing of the oxen which I hear?
So Samuel is basically on the scene now. He's coming to see if Saul did what was asked. And as he's doing so, he's hearing sheep in his ear. So automatically, like, man, what's going on? What's the issue? Keep going.
And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, where the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed.
So he put it on the people. He said they have brought them from the Amalekites, where the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice to the Lord thy God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. So he kept the best, he kept the stuff, and said, we're going to sacrifice this to the Lord. Lord didn't ask for that. Matter of fact, the same way he asked for Nadab and Abihu to sacrifice what they gave. Keep going.
And Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on.
Skip down to verse 20 for me.
And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites.
And you know how we get, man, when we're questioning. I did what you asked me to do. But he didn't. He said, and Saul said unto Samuel, Yeah, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, which is lie number one, because Samuel walked up and heard sheep in his ear anyway. So now you caught in this lie. And have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. So he didn't kill the king, he didn't kill some animals. Now you got 2 red flags on your resume. Keep going.
But the people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal.
Keep going.
And Samuel said, Had the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord?
Mm-hmm.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams.
So obedience is better than sacrifice. Again, obedience is better than sacrifice. And I forgot how I was talking to at my school. I was like, man, look, serving God's not all that hard. You just open the book and do what it tells you to do. And that's it. And you'll save yourself so much trouble. But the moment you try to go contrary, or you start acting like you don't need God, now you got a problem. Then that sacrifice doesn't mean nothing. But you can sacrifice all day. Matter of fact, back in the day, man, if I decide to wake up, I'm sinning today. I got rams, I'm straight. Is that sacrifice doing me any good if I'm waiting and sin the next day on purpose? It's not. But if I'm obedient, that's showing the Lord that I'm trying. I'm trying to do what is asked of me. So he's saying here that obedience is better than sacrifice. Keep going.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft,
Mm-hmm.
and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
So he says, for rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. So he's likening you to not doing what God says to witches, wizards, whatever. And the law tells you, don't suffer a witch to live. So think about that. The Lord is comparing you your hard-headedness to witchcraft and stubbornness as the iniquity of idolatry. So the same you worship other gods is the same way of rebellion. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king. So he removed Saul from the kingship. Why? Saul did what Saul wanted to do, his own way, and then try to lie about it. I did what the Lord asked me to do, while Samuel got sheep in his ear, got the king in front of his face. I did what you asked me to do. And we do that to this day. I'm trying to serve the Lord. No, you're not. I read you the book, and you still gonna go Sunday at church tomorrow. You're not trying to serve the Lord. And like I said last time, I understand when you sin in ignorance and you simply don't know. I'm not saying that's okay, but I'd much rather not know than to know and go, oh, skip it. I'm gonna do it anyway. And then it comes to the point of you're not really trying to serve God, but the idea of serving the Lord. That's not good enough. Let's go to Exodus 20 now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice.
Also, a lesson in that, man. If you're gonna serve the Lord, serve the Lord. But you ain't got time to worry about what mom thinks, dad thinks, brother or sister or whatnot. My family in town right now asking me to hang out. I was like, no, man, I got to do the Passover tonight. I got Jacksonville tomorrow. I got something to do on Sunday. Sorry. I'll catch y'all next time. In fact, I told y'all 3 weeks ahead of time what was going on today, and y'all still came. Oh well. You wanna hang out with me? Go to Fayetteville Street. I'll be there. All right, let's go to Exodus 20 now. And I hope we're getting an understanding of how there's only really one way to do this. The common salvation, the one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and the direct methods that God gave. These are the components you need. Nothing that we can do or establish for ourselves. So Exodus 20, verse 1. And here the Lord's about to give Israel the commandments, all right? So Exodus 20, verse 1. Go ahead and read that.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
So the very first thing out of God's mouth, he's telling them, I brought you out of Egypt. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. As we know in this room, there's only one true and living God. But why does God have to say this? Because he knew at some point in time, Israel is going to go astray, and then the world is going to go astray. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. And that can consist of, like, these, of course, these natural false gods, you know, like I said, your Buddhas, your crosses, so on and so forth. But anything you can put over God, that could be money, that could be family, your car, whatever the case may be. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Keep going.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
And the God leaves no stones unturned. He said, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. He didn't say, unless it's this color, that color, this or that. No, he said, no graven images. Matter of fact, you had nothing to go off. But when the Lord came on to the mountain, you didn't see him at all. So what are you drawing? All right? No graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. So don't be getting fishes, drawing them up, put them on your wall. No, we ain't doing that, man. He addressed the sky as well. So sun, moon, stars, anything that flies in the heavens, he got that. Anything on the earth. So four-legged beasts, bugs, whatever. And you have some religions who actually worship animals. I forgot which one, but they believe that you come back reincarnated as a cow or a mouse, whatever. Verse 5.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation, unto them that hate me, and showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
So these commandments that we're getting now, they're basically the guidelines to how to serve God as God. Does that make sense? To serve God as God. He's telling you here. So basically, don't have no gods before me, and don't mess around making any images. You don't mess around, make that a god, start serving that, which is heavy today. Because now, people rock crosses, not knowing the history of it, what it means. Like, you're walking around with a death/torture tool on your neck. And you tell people that. I remember I told a coworker at my job, I'm just minding my business, I'm chilling. She walks in, she got this big old cross on her. I don't know, I kind of play stupid. Hey, what's that? Oh, it's my cross. Why you wear that? Exactly how she said it. Because my Lord Jesus died on the cross. Okay, cool. And I was like, well, you know, it's like a Roman torture tool, right? No, it's not. Like, it is. Like, the cross was around way before Christ came into the picture. That's a graven image. I made her mad. She walked out the room. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, know what you have on your neck, know what you're doing, and know why. Now, if you know the history of the tree, you research, and you still want to do it, go for it. If you still want to serve Easter after knowing the history, go for it. Just know You stand in judgment line. Oh, I didn't know. God knows. You can't hide anything from God at all. Keep going.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Mm-hmm.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
Go ahead.
But the seventh day is a Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates.
So as we read His commandments, is God offering it in a suggestive form? You can, if you like, keep the Sabbath. If you want to, you can have an image if you want. If it pleases you, yeah, wear your cross. He's not doing it. These are commandments. You must do these. Matter of fact, they are the bond of a covenant. All right. Without these, you have half the covenant. Half is not what you need. You need all of it. That's it on that? No, you going.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Right. So it's saying the Lord blessed the Sabbath day here. And as we all know, I'm sure we all had this talk or this whole, I won't even say debate, it's not really a debate, but the importance of the Sabbath day. I didn't make this day, Brother Joseph didn't make it, Cephas didn't make it. We read in verse 1, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Then he gave you these list of commandments. Do them. Matter of fact, as a parent, like, man, I walk in your dad's house. Dad, this house is gonna run now. Bet you got a problem. I know I would. And on top of that, man, just really think about it. As a parent, right? As a parent, you go to work. I say as a father, I go to work. I wake up every morning, I go deal with these ratchet kids at school. They are ratchet kids at school. I go through all this stuff, right? I make sure my family got stuff, all they need, food, bills are paid, they got a house to stay in, so on and so forth. I'm doing all that, not only because I have to, I want to. That is my thing. So imagine me, or Brother Joseph, Brother Tony when he gets kids. You go home, right? You don't work a 10-hour day. Chilling, right? You get to the house, I'm gonna see my family, they love me, I get home. You walk in the crib, they got some other man on the picture on the wall, just praising him. I lose my mind, I don't know about y'all. So imagine that, that's how God feels. He's doing all this for us. And then you worship other guys. Not even give him what he get. He said a thought. That's something to consider. Let's go to Judges 10 now to get another example of that. False worship is not rocking with God, neither is worshiping other gods. It tells you in 1 Corinthians 6, no idolater is getting in the kingdom of God. Judges chapter 10 and verse 6. When you got that, you go ahead and read it.
And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and served Baalim, and Ashtaroth, and the gods of Syria, and the gods of Zidon, and the gods of Moab, and the gods of the children of Ammon, and the gods of the Philistines, and forsook the Lord, and served him not.
Mm-hmm.
And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and sold them into the hands of the Philistines, and into the hands of the children of Ammon.
So, the prelude to what's going on here, so you have all these leaders who are leading Israel, judging Israel, basically keeping them in check. And it says, I'll read verse 5. And it says, and Jair died and was buried in Canaan. And I'm sorry, yeah, so all these leaders started dying, which is still today. Israel as a whole, the world as a whole, we have a problem with spiritual leadership. Again, spiritual leadership, because it's all about money now, prosperity. Big houses, big cars, like people are like worshiping the preacher. Worshiping the preacher, like you turn on any per se Christian channel and nothing Christian's coming from it. Give me your rent money. God's gonna bless you. And you give your rent money, now you a month behind and you got a blessing. What's that about? And on top of that, we don't question our teachers at all. I ask questions. I need to know. Matter of fact, we all ask questions. Verify what's being taught to you. That's even in life with anything. Like if someone's telling you something at work, verify it. You verify a contract, right? Verify the word of God. Keep going.
In that year they vexed and oppressed the children of Israel. 18 years, all the children of Israel that were on the other side of Jordan in the land of the Amorites, which is in Gilead.
Mm-hmm. So they started worshiping other gods. We're talking about
Verse 8.
and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Baalim and Ashtoreth and the gods of Syria and the gods of Sidon and the gods of Moab and the gods of the children of Ammon and the gods of the Philistines and forsook the Lord and served him not. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. So they started dealing with other gods, right? False worship. But if all worship was cool, this wouldn't be a problem, right? And we all know that God hasn't changed. So then to the same, so not only was he hot against Israel, he put them in slavery for 18 years. Keep going.
Moreover, the children of Ammon passed over Jordan to fight also against Judah, and against Benjamin, and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was sore distressed.
Mm-hmm.
And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, saying, We have sinned against thee, both because we have forsaken our God, and also served Baalim.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Did I not deliver you from the Egyptians, and from the Amorites, from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines?
So the Lord is giving out his resume here. Look, I delivered you from the Egyptians, the Amorites, the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines. Keep going.
The Zidonians also, and the Amalekites, and the Moabites did oppress you. And ye cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand. Yet ye have forsaken me, and served other gods.
So now we're here. We all heard the terms like God will never leave nor forsake you, right? That's what I thought. Until I read, until I found the truth and found out that's a lie. And God will give you so quick. If you turn your back on God, he'll turn his back on you. That's the Bible don't say God seeking you. It's the other way around. Keep going.
Wherefore I will deliver you no more. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation.
God cold, man. He said, look, I'm done with you. I'm not delivering you anymore. You want to worship other gods? Go cry to them. Let them get you out of the situation. And we know Buddha can't do that. Buddha just stands there. So does that Christmas tree. So does that cross. So does everything that you make of God. So again, you piss God off enough, he'll cut you off. There, we good on that? All right. Let's go to Amos 5 now. So Amos chapter 5. And we're still establishing here that there is no such thing as a personal relationship, which I think we got a good idea of that. And there's no such thing as, your way, my way. We all get into the kingdom. That's false as well. And it's important to know these things because, again, God gives you free will. You make your own decisions. My goal today was to help whoever needed help to make that choice. Now, I think you got the tools you need. Go from there. So Amos chapter 5, verse 4. But what's going on here, Israel is just, as the young people say, doing the most at this point. They're going contrary to the word of God, a lot of hypocrisy going on and whatnot. So Amos chapter 5 and verse 4. Go ahead and read it.
For thus saith the Lord unto the house of Israel, Seek me, seek ye me, and ye shall live.
Verse 21.
I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
Mm-hmm.
Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts.
So again, like I said earlier, so they're still doing the feast days. So in other words, they're living, let's say, a lawless life, right, up to this point. When the feast days come around, now you're trying to get it right. You're in the false step and perpetrating like you've been cool all this time. But God knows he ain't having that either. Read verse 21 again.
I hate I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assembly.
Go ahead.
Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard your peace offerings of your fat beasts.
Go ahead.
Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows.
The Lord saying, look, I don't want you sacrifice, I don't want you feast, I don't want you singing, none of that. Keep going.
But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as mighty stream.
Mm-hmm.
Have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Shaun, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves.
So in this case, idolatry. Other gods, Molech, Chuin, your images, the star of your God, which you have made yourselves. And because Israel is doing this, God says, I don't want you sacrifice, I don't want your sacrifices, I don't want you singing in my ears. If you're not gonna do it, if you're not gonna do what I ask you to do, don't do anything. In other words, ain't no in between with God. You in or you out. You hot or you cold. Revelation 3 says, if you lukewarm, we're gonna spit you out. Pick a side and stick with it. If you're gonna serve God, go hard. If you're not gonna serve God, live it up. Keep going.
Therefore will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith the Lord, whose name is the God of hosts.
So again, we see captivity. So you see a pattern of idolatry. Now you see a pattern of mercy, idolatry, captivity. Mercy, idolatry, captivity. Again, mercy, idolatry, captivity. So letting you know that all worship is not cool. All worship is not cool. And like God says here, they're bearing images. Some people just can't erase those images out of their mind. The way that Jesus looks, the way how Easter is supposed to look, the family gets together, they can't erase that. They don't want to let it go. They also don't want to let go of all these false religions, all these false denominations, and whatnot. And it's crazy because all you gotta do is go to Google, research, and you'll obviously see every denomination or religion that is made has an origin, a founder, and a start date. Origin, founder, and a start date. Like I said, that goes from all your denominations, from Sunday church, your Islam, your Seventh-day Adventists. They all have start dates, man-made doctrines. There is no man-made doctrine that's going to work with God, especially like the rapture, which is fairly recent, like a couple hundred years old, made popular by this guy named John Nelson Darby, something like that. And people bank on it like it's been around forever, but you can't find it anywhere to look. So again, if it has an origin, a start date, and a founder, probably not what you need.
Right.
Let's go to Matthew chapter 7. It's here in Matthew 7. I know reading this now, and then when I was reading when I was 18, this is one of the verses that scared me to death. Until I found Isaiah 66, that scared me some more. I'm just being transparent. But all right, so Matthew chapter 7. So Matthew 7, verse 13. When you got it, go ahead.
Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat.
So it says, enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. So if you want like an eye test of what's right or wrong, if everybody's doing it, not what you need. Even if you have kids, they go to school and everybody's doing this, it looks cool, don't follow that crowd. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get in trouble. Being right in detention with those kids. All right? So, enter ye at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go thereat. And as we talked about in the class, a lot of people go in that broad gate. Whether it be they just want to, but they know better and choose not to. They don't want to hear what mom has to say. Or they just simply love tradition. Or like Brother Nate said last night, we're doing it for the kids. I love my son and daughter to death, but skip all that. No, we ain't doing that. Keep going.
Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
Few be there that find it. Straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. And he's saying like a narrow gate, meaning it's not gonna be this easy walk, sunshine, strawberries, and all that. No, you gonna have to duck, you have to jump, you gonna have to block. But the courage is keep going.
Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Go ahead.
Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
False prophets. Again, false prophets, which again is a major leadership thing in Israel and the world in general. And then again, you can't really blame it all on the false prophets, because if you want to be deceived and you deny the truth, God gave you that delusion. It tells you that. So you can't blame the prophets alone. Keep going.
Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
Go ahead.
A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
So God's giving you a way to test, right? He's saying, he tells you, try the spirit by the spirit. And he's saying here, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. So he's letting you know, check what your teacher's saying. If I'm up here saying, yeah, worship any day you like, I'm cool with it. Get me off the podium. I'm being for real. Or I'm up here saying, man, you do the Passover if you want to. You don't have to do it. Or I'm telling you, everybody give me rent money right now. I promise God will bless you. Man, verify that in the book, and if I'm lying, get me off the podium. That's with anybody. Verify what you're saying, because you're going to know that someone's preaching the word of God by their fruits. If you're hearing what they're saying, and you can read it in the book, you're in a good direction. Keep going.
Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
This is the scary part right here. It says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. And this is it's a deep statement, because you have a lot of people who call on the name of the Lord. Even though they're in the wrong doctrine and whatnot, they're really doing it out of sincerity of their hearts, right? But then, that's a bad time to find out at Judgment Day that you were wrong all this time. But then again, the Lord said, this gospel is going to be preached throughout the whole world. So at the end of the day, you're not really going to have an excuse. You have this Bible here. Inside this Bible, you have examples, guidelines. You have the internet now. You got teachers out here. Brothers and sisters posting the word on Facebook. So you really can't say, I don't know. You really can't say I didn't know if you didn't look. Keep going.
But he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works.
So imagine you stand there at Judgment Day and you just like, Lord, I paid my tithes. I went to church every Sunday. I did Easter. And the Lord looking at you like, no, that's not what I asked.
Right.
I said, that's a bad time to find out right before you get tossed in that fire. Keep going.
And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Let's get on, let's get on that. Let's go to our last place, Isaiah 45. So my goal today was for us to get a better understanding how, like, the worship standard that God set, that's the only one there is. There is nothing else. Joshua tells you don't go to the left, don't go to the right. And the Lord followed up with the straight and narrow gate. If we had autonomy to do so, the Lord, he probably wouldn't have mentioned a straight gate, just a broad gate everybody can go through, hope you get there type thing. But he didn't do that. So Isaiah 45 and verse 9. Read that for me.
Woe unto him that striveth with his maker.
So woe unto him that striveth with his maker. So in other words, woe unto that person who just willingly wants to go against God. Or shoot, whoever willingly wants to go against God. Despite everything that's been taught to you, despite everything that's been shown to you, despite everything that the time that people have sat down with you and showed you the word of God, and you still decide to go contrary to what the books say, woe unto him that striveth with his maker. Like we established earlier, God's thoughts are higher than our thoughts. He knows what he wants. God don't need our help. He doesn't. Like I heard something a few years ago, and it's like, are you letting God be the pilot or the co-pilot? I was like, man, that's a good question. At that time in my life, I'm probably letting him be the co-pilot. I shouldn't be in the plane. He's a pilot. If that makes sense.
Right.
Keep going.
Let the potsherd strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest thou? Or thy work, he hath no hands.
So a clay pot, is he going to turn around and ask the maker, why'd you make me? I wanted to be gold. You made me silver. So in other words, don't be questioning God. I'm saying, why I gotta keep this Sabbath? Why I gotta do this? It's not fair. I don't want to do that. Okay, don't do it. And I say this, don't do it. If you consciously in your mind know that you don't want to do it despite the truth, don't do it. Keep going.
Woe unto him that saith unto his father, what begettest thou? Or to the woman, what hast thou brought forth?
Mm-hmm. So keep going.
Thus saith the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, and his Maker. Ask me of things to come concerning my sons, and concerning the works of my hands, command ye me.
So that being said, I just went here to close it out on some. Don't strive for God. Just do what you ask. Do the method of worship that He designed in the Bible. Keep the faith. And other than that, that's really all you can do. But when you start going contrary to God, start making your own standards of worship, and then just deny what God has, that's a price to pay. And that's why He says in that day, men in that day say, Lord, Lord, and I prophesy in your name, and cast out devils. He didn't. All right, so that being said, the name of the class is All Worship Please God. I pray someone got some understanding in Jesus' name. I went over my house.
Y'all give Brother Justin another round of applause. That's a good message. Like this class, does all worship please God? Nope. Nope. Just like, you know, what the people was doing yesterday. Everybody hollering out Good Friday. I even had people at my job hollering at Good Friday. I said, yeah, it was good. Because my check was in the account. Friday is always good with me. It was good last Friday. And once that check don't be in that account, now it's bad Friday. Yep. But as you can see from the title of my class, it's 3 days and 3 nights. The simplicity in Christ. So we talk about 3 days and 3 nights, and it's funny how you have our religious leaders who have all these high